Pricing and discounts. Our clients' income vary quite a bit. Some of them are wealthy, while others are on SSI, and also there are sometimes exclusion circumstances, both permanent and temporary. Although our payment policy has been standard across the board, it's also hard to be fair and to attract business. As a manager, I was responsible for pricing and discounts. Pricing and discounts are a very important part of management. If the price is set too high, it does not mean that we earn much more. Instead, we will lose clients. But prices that are too low can also kill business. It sounds obvious, but it's not so simple. Prices have to be tied to the quality of service too. When somebody calls our office and requests an estimate for certain service, they usually expect to get numbers straight out of the bat. For instance, they may want to know how the cost of this standard procedure, such as fixing, in order to compare the number with other prices in the area. If the receptionist simply shoot out the price, she runs in the risk of misunderstanding. If the animal male or female, would they be like only the surgery or surgery plus anesthesia, medicine, painkiller support, monitoring, recovery, etc. The size of animals is also important, as it will affect the dosage of anesthesia and the pharmaceutical treatment. Some clients count on the shopping around and always provide the minimum figures, hoping that when the client arrives they will understand those figures that I just estimate, and it will be adjusted depending on the procedure itself. Often, after initial shock and the price battle with the clinic, the client agrees to pay much more than he or she heard on the phone. But this does not always work, and pretty often it leaves an impression of dishonesty. But if reception gives a true final figure without explanation, this could turn away potential new clients. That difference does make to us, and if client later discover that our initial honest answer was better than what they end up paying at the other clinic, and that had attracted them with their seductive low first price offer. So such questions end up coming down to the science, and I push our receptionists hard to do this correctly, even if they have to spend more time on the phone with potential visitor. As I said, everybody has to pay the same price as others, but pricing equality should not be blunt. In order to achieve both the standardization of price and fairness, there are discounts. As it is my duty to find what discounts should be given to the client. Low-income people are the portion of our clientele and that deserve special attention. One cannot mandate that those with a scarce resource should not own a pet. In fact, the opposite should be true. It is often that these hard-up people who need their pets more than anyone else. An old, lonely human, for instance, may and should be attached to somebody weaker than they are, or someone stronger to support them. Once in a while, we even provide services to animals belongs to the homeless. The homelessness has the right to love somebody too, and often it's not their fault that they are poor, just the result of illness or bad luck. Providing services for free or significantly reduced prices is the pressure of any business. For us, everything costs money. Medicine, supplies, salaries. Giving discount does not mean that business can save on payroll, but we do those things as a mitzvah. The other thing is that I cannot judge a person by his or her appearance, and I cannot investigate the real income of a seemingly low income person. Probably most likely I'm often mistaken, but I prefer to give discounts in a questionable situation than to blame myself later for not doing it. And there are a lot of people who ask for discounts when they really do not deserve it. Just a couple of days ago, there was a woman about my age and slightly older begged me for a discount on her schnauz spay procedure. The woman who I had known long ago is a friend of my relative, insisted that she couldn't afford the full price. I offered to take 10% off without a long discussion. 10% amount is to the profit of just any business. So basically I offered that she only cover the expenses for actual service. Oh no, I can't afford that much, she told me. I've heard there are shelters which provide the service nearly for free. So why don't you go there? Have you seen the service there? They save on everything: time, antibiotics, painkillers, quality of workers, everything. They probably do, but our doctors cannot do what they do. We needed pre-anesthetic panel, among other things, that will ensure the risk of animal is minimal. It's a surgery, you know. Yes, I know, that's why I'm here. But can you make price the same as in a shelter? No, I cannot. Shelters usually collect donations and city support. We do not. And you know what? I have changed my opinion, I told her. I take back the discount I previously offered. My relative knows this woman because she is a client of her at the bank. According to her account, she is very wealthy. It is impossible to say that confidence into allowed. She paid in full, but each time she come back, she tried to fight me for a discount. We also have a woman with 6 small poodles. 5 of them are diabetic. All the dogs are pretty old and need consistent help from the vet. As the consequences of their main diagnosis, they have problems with their eyes, kidneys, and vascular system, and so on. When the woman first came to us, I offered her our standard discounts for the owners of multiple animals, but she refused. She explained to me that she is divorced and her husband is obligated to cover the expenses connected with their dogs. She does not want to make his life easy. Sometimes, in addition to a discount, our client asks for a payment plan. In most cases, it's understandable. Severe animal injuries can happen unexpectedly and can be expensive to treat, a trauma, an accident, and so on. Such situations often demand various diagnostic tests, as well as surgery, which is not cheap. People may not have been prepared to such sudden, huge cost. Even if a client has a pet insurance, it works different than it does for humans. The owner has to foot the bill upfront and pay, and may or may not be reimbursed by the insurance company later. Reimbursements are good, but the problem is that the money has to be paid today. In such case, I usually agree to make arrangement for a payment plan. The owner pays initial deposit and pays the rest in installments, adhering to the agreed upon schedule. People thank me, sign the papers, but it's always a big question whether or not they will ever see the rest of the money. There is the whole bookshelf of files with payment promised that have never been fulfilled. We have tried to sue some of these people in small claim court and obviously won those cases. But that is a big hassle, and anyway we rarely see this money. As a result, we only agree to those plans if we can tell that the loyal client will be honestly ready to compensate us for those loans. There was one couple with numerous dogs and cats. They even brought their neighbors' animals to our clinic. After years of familiarity, they have earned our trust. One time they asked for a crate and we decided, why not? They were our loyal customers, but they turned out to be unreliable. They paid something once in a while and then their debt grew constantly. In several months it reached a couple thousand and asked them to reimburse a meaningful portion of it. They never came back and we never saw the money for the service already performed. A well-fed man dressed entirely in Gucci brought his cat for the grooming, and the receptionist announced the price. What about discount? Asked the man. On what grounds? I come from the same city as your vet, was his argument. Mr. G owns a huge house around the corner, and he usually gets discount because he is our neighbor. This time he called for a last minute. We had always close our gate. Almost close our gate, Mr. G asked for help. His beagle had eaten a chicken bone and was now coughing non-stop. Maybe you can take him to the emergency hospital. We are already behind on schedule. Oh no, you know how much more expensive they are. Please wait for me. I asked the doctor and technician to stay after hours. Our neighbor and his beagle arrived within a couple of minutes. Luckily, there was a piece of bone was stuck rather deep inside of beagle mouth. It was not too deep and the doctor was able to take it out. Mr. G looked at the bill. There was no discount at this time. What about discount? He asked. We didn't charge you a rush fee. Strangely enough, this rather wealthy man who knows how things work understands that because of him we would need to pay our employees extra hours, and we save him a significant amount of money by avoiding visits to emergency hospital, and he still insisted on discount.